So my name is Jimmy LeHoux. I'm a lifelong resident of Manchester, and I was born on the west side of Manchester in nice French community. And now I have had about 2.5 years where I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. I went and pursued my dreams of becoming a musician, and realized very quickly that I was a small fish in a big pond. But I did that. It was fun. It was a great experience. And my wife and I decided we wanted to get married and have kids. And so we moved back home and started our family. And I have been married now 15 years. I have 2 wonderful kids. One's 14 and 9th grade at MST High School, Manchester School of Technology High School. And I have one good 7th grade that goes to Southside. The reason why I'm running, this is this would be my 2nd time running. I was defeated last time by only 72 votes. So it was a really close race. First time ever being out, first time ever being engaged, involved in that aspect. And some of the things that made me run was first of all, when I got a notice from one of my friends that there was a board meeting and Jewett Street was actually being discussed to be closed and going to be a full-day kindergarten. Our kids both my kids at the time went to Jewett Street, started digging into this scenario of Jewett Street being closed, and found out that our current school board rep, it was actually her plan to do this. And I didn't necessarily have a problem with that, but what I had a problem was that there was no reach out. There was no engagement with the community, and there was no back and forth dialogue of what was happening in our community. And unfortunately, it continues to this day where we really don't know what's going on in our Ward 8 community. So, so I started to get involved, started attending the meetings, and one of the things that was brought up at our school was they needed a fence for the playground, because on Jewett Street, they go about 45 miles an hour on that street, and the teachers refused to let the kids play on the playground, so they would leave them down on the bottom, on the asphalt. So I thought, being, this shouldn't take long, a nice cheap fence, we could go to the alderman or the school board, ask them, just put a fence up to corral our kids, and don't put them near the street. And about two years and 3 months later, we finally got our fence. So so government works really slow, and I had to keep going back to the well to tell them, don't forget us, don't forget us. Finally got that done. But one of the things I'm concerned about our future, our kids in Manchester. For a while there, we have a superintendent now, Dr. Vargas, who came in, has a new set of eyes, a new look at Manchester, doesn't know the players, doesn't know the allegiances, and finally we're having a direction for our city that parental involvement is very big on his list. Past superintendents, it wasn't necessarily a priority to them for parental involvement. Over testing was another big one. Manchester Academic Standards, which is a version of Common Core, if you follow any of that. But basically they were teaching to the test. So they would test the kids, every 2 days on a subject, see where they were, then they would go over it. A couple days later, they would test them again. Then a week later, they would test them on a broad range. And it was just too much. And I actually opted my kids out. I wanted them no part of that. And we were threatened. There was a group of us from Southside, Jewett, and Memorial that got together and threatened, and decided we're going to opt out. We were threatened by our superintendent at the time that if we opted out, we could lose our funding for the state. And none of us really, we weren't going to have our kids as experiments. The other thing I really want to get involved in is anyone here ever involved in the trades at all? Manufacturing, when you work in the trades, anything like that?
Yeah.
So one of the things that you may see now, there is a major trade gap. So all our, if you look at the trades, the average tradesperson is 51 years old. and there's nobody coming up, filtering up through there. So about 5-10 years from now, finding a plumber, finding an electrician, finding any manufacturing, there's going to be really nobody to pick that up. One of the causes, I believe, is as far back as I went to school in the 90s when I graduated, they were saying that if you were going to go to college, if you didn't go to college, it would be nothing. And I think that's not true. I work construction now. I'm in the I work with a lot of subcontractors in the state, and they're having a hard time finding people. And these are really good people, well-educated people, very successful business people. Some of the most successful people I know own businesses that support the trades. And so what I wanted to do was go back to where several years back to where go to 7th grade and start introducing our students to trade opportunities. And one of the ways we do that was by taking a semester, 17 or 18 weeks, and breaking it up into 6 segments to where, when I went to school, we'd have wood shop, and that was like a whole quarter. You'd have metal, that was a whole quarter. I want to basically give them a crash course of a lot of things that are out there. So you could have electrical, plumbing, 3 weeks of electrical, 3 weeks of plumbing, 3 weeks of mechanical, and then of course the technology end of it. The trades nowadays are my grandfather's trades anymore. They're very technologically driven with CAD/CAM technology, drones, gamers. If you're familiar with gamers, the company that I work for, we actually hired a gamer, somebody who develops video games, and they take the drawings that come from off of a computer, and they can actually have the owner sit there and walk through the building and see exactly what the building will look like before anything's even done. So the technology is great, and I think we need to bring these to the young students and get them exposed that there are other opportunities out there. So when they do graduate from high school, they have a good feel of which direction they want to go in. If they choose not to go to a 4-year college, but they want to go to a community college, they want to actually go out and work. A lot of these companies have apprenticeship programs where they'll pay for the students to go to school. So I think we get them involved. So along with a college fair, junior or senior year, I think we ought to have a jobs fair in Manchester where we have these companies come in and they can look at the kids' grades. If they're interested in electrical, go talk to the electrical trades that are out there and interview them and see what they can offer. Like I said, a lot of times they can go to school and it's all paid for. And they come out of school with knowledge, a degree in what their trade is. They become proficient and they start working on being masters at their trade. Meanwhile, making money and not going into hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and getting them ready for life. The other thing I think I want to do, I know I want to do, is I want to get more business-oriented classes into our schools. So should they come out of school and want to start a business, they know what it entails. And something near and dear to me, a personal finance course. Exactly what does a credit card do to you? Exactly how do you write a check? When you sign on and you're going to go buy a car and you take out a loan, how does that impact your credit? How does that impact you in the future decisions you can make? These are things we're no longer teaching our kids in school, and I think it's very important. And my motto is, don't teach our kids for 4-year college. Teach them for life, and then they'll go in the direction they want to go in. The parental involvement is extremely important. About 2 years ago, I started a group of parents and people from the community to see if we could start a subcommittee at the board level of parents. And what this would do would be a group of parents that would get together and basically watch the actions of the board and make sure that the parent is always involved. Education is not a point-to-point. It's not teacher to student or student to teacher. It's a triangle. It's student, parent, and teacher. And if those 3 things are working together and they're spinning nicely and they're communicating, you're going to have a very successful child. I don't care where you put them. You could put them in Manchester, you could put them in Bedford, you could put them in Pinkerton. If the parent is involved, you're going to have a successful child. So I think the reason why that didn't happen is half the people on that group ended up running for political office. And I didn't want it to get political, so I disbanded it. And now, if I do have the opportunity and fortunate enough to get voted in, then as a board member, I will definitely aggressively try and get that and try and find ways to get parents involved. I am currently the PSG, or the PTG Parent Support Group at Southside. I am currently the president over there. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time trying to raise funds for our schools, for events and stuff like that. So I'm very involved in the community. I think I could do a lot more. And I will not be taking any health benefits. Currently, the school board members can get city health benefits working a part-time volunteer position, where our part-timers for the city aren't eligible for health care. Elected officials are. I think that's wrong. This is a labor of love. It's a city that I absolutely love. It's a great city. It gets a bad rap. We have a lot of things going good in the city, good in our schools. Unfortunately, bad publicity is free, and good publicity you got to pay for. So I'm hoping to be involved, and with your vote and your support, I'll get on that board and make you proud. Any questions? Now, you say that you don't have kids in school. I do want to remind you that the taxes, it's 54 to 56% of our tax base is schools. So there's more, we pay more taxes in our schools than we do in civic services. So just something to keep in mind. So
something I'd like to add is.
Well, you want to do an open forum after? We can do an open forum.
Oh, yeah, I think, because we should probably save questions till the end,
Right.
and then they
Yep.
can
So,
think
well,
about
thank you
these
very
all
much.
day. Yes, thanks.